do, and there's
Give me one of these when I start the music.
going live in Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 416 for Wednesday, June 16th, 2021. And if it sounds like I've already said this 2 times before, I've already said this twice before. But
this time we're really live.
We're really live, and I'm because I love being live. And as always, my thanks to Casey Green for being our live engineer, our streaming software expert. Let's introduce the panel and get this show on the road because we got a lot of good stuff. So I already said Casey Green. Hey, Casey Green.
How's it going? We've got a lovely 73-degree weather today, and I got a box that arrived. I think it's my level 1 adapter from a vendor that we'll be talking about later.
I got a level 1 for you. 73 degrees.
I borrowed your weather. You can have it back soon.
Exactly. There are hummingbirds literally bursting into flames off my balcony right now. I've been sweeping up their tiny little piles of ashes all day long.
Oh, man.
It's a brutal life in California. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, at least it's not on fire yet.
At least. And the only person who probably is in a hotter place than I am is the lovely and talented Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, everybody. And yes, it is a beautiful 100 degrees up here in Sacramento. Just delightful and balmy. Yeah, I don't like you, Casey.
No. And if you do see Georgia slowly melting into a puddle, just let her go with dignity, okay? That's all we ask, please. Speaking of dignity, a man who's always dignified, our friend in the Great White North, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Excited about the NHL playoffs? Yes, indeed, because my team is still in it. So that's why.
Take that, Tony.
Where's Tony Schaefer when we need him? Because that was a hockey reference, right?
That was an actual hockey reference. Yeah.
Is Hockey Day on the show in the chat? He would give someone else who might care.
If Hockey Day is on, they're not speaking in the chat yet.
Oh no, there's no one in the chat room.
No, there's a couple people in the chat.
Oh, there's Harpsichorded. Hi, Harpsichorded. Anyway, certainly not last and not least, our friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, and welcome to our little show about the future of transportation and mobility as a human right. I know we normally do shout-outs at the end of the show, but I have a special shout-out I want to do right now. This person shared the link to our show today with some of their friends. So here it is. Harper, this shout-out is for you, buddy.
I don't even know who you are, Harper, and thank you so much. Because, yeah, I appreciate that. Last and definitely not least, he is the founder and operator of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, yo. And so, Patrick, with the chip shortage, are they using Commodore 64 chips to power modern cars?
Yes. Commodore is making a huge comeback. It's going to be everybody buy stock right now before getting on the ground floor.
Oh, no.
This is not a stock he buys.
Is C64 like the new crypto that everyone's going to be on?
Oh, yeah. I should start a Commodore.
No, that's the new processor the Tesla self-driving mode uses.
The entertainment computer has a PS5, but the auto drive is
it's
a Commodore 64.
I got nothing. Well, We got a lot to cover. Let me slide over to my notes here because I've got a couple of things to say. First of all, a huge thanks to all of you who last year so generously donated to our Computer Fund Drive, because this is coming to you. This is the very first show coming to you live and direct from the M1 Mac Mini.
Nice.
Yes, we've done it. And I look forward to editing a backlog of about 18 months of video. That's not funny. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm still setting it up. It's functional for the show, but not much else right now. And I wanted to thank all of you for that. So seriously, once again, thank you so much. Upcoming news. I am going to be, was it riding or driving? I wonder. Piloting. Arcimoto has invited me to spend a day on one of their, and I apologize because I hate this term, but it's their term, and I'm going to respect it. FUV.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Literally, FU.
That's
Yeah,
Fun
FUV.
utility vehicle.
it is
That's
a
what it
fun
is.
utility vehicle, and
Utility vehicle.
Elon is not the only one with a sophomoric sense of humor. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm excited. They've opened up 2 rental locations, one in Key West, one here in San Diego, to rent Arcimotos to tourists. It's certainly, well, we'll find out. Is it a great thing to rent for the day and tool around in San Diego? Lots of video, lots of experience. Probably next week. So late next week, that video will be up. Look for that, as well as tons, literally the metric shit ton that we have referred to on this show many times. A video is coming. Oh, George, you just look like I shouldn't have said metric shit ton.
I don't care.
I'm looking forward to finally understanding the concept of the Arcimoto. I mean, I've got a friend who's really, really into it, and I don't understand.
Well,
I'm glad it's electric.
Patrick has something to say probably.
yeah, so I've been in a couple of their prototypes, and
And he's not there anymore.
And he's gone.
So-
what happened? Yeah,
I
Wow.
don't know. You said you've been in a prototype and you disappeared.
And you disappeared.
Wow.
It was like,
It's the prototype
Yeah,
for Time
I'm
Machine.
jealous.
He just went back
Yeah.
into the future.
Right? It's not an NDA, is it?
no, it was not. These were public. Yeah, I've driven it a couple times. It's a lot of fun, and it's made for 2 people. And so most of the time when you're driving around, it's you and maybe one other person. So this is not something you would want to take a road trip in. But if you look at most people, and on a given day, they drive less than 30 miles. And it's usually by themselves or maybe getting some groceries. And this has room for that. It's a great fit for normal daily mobility.
that is what I hope, and I look forward to checking it out. We've talked about this numerous times here before. I was really excited at first, and over the decade or so of development, I've been less excited. So no matter
development
what.
process is long. Yeah. So
Yeah, no matter what, it's an electric vehicle, and hopefully we'll find a niche and find a place and get gas vehicles in that class off the road and give people a better option. I totally 100% stand behind
Does
that.
anyone have a screenshot they can share as a teaser?
Oh. And is the one you're going to drive a one with doors or one without doors?
As far as I know, it has no doors.
Yeah, Nikki was talking about it. They were developing some, but I don't know if they were done yet.
Yeah, no, it's not the Deliverator or the ones with the doors. It's the open one. I would like to call it the San Diego edition because
Yeah, that
Today.
makes sense. They're in Key
Yesterday.
West and San Diego. Yeah,
Yeah.
start there.
there's a week or two a year where they're not going to be able to drive them because people are going to get wet. But
I can share a screenshot.
Yeah, go
please do. Would welcome that. And I have to say, I mean, and I think I said this a few weeks ago when this initially went down. Mark Fromeyer, the CEO of Arcimoto, cheers to him, because I was, what's the polite way of saying busting balls?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I guess I just said busting balls. So I was busting his balls in a big way on Twitter, and he said, well, we're going to get you in one. And I said, That's a very small picture, but very nice nonetheless. Whoa!
Very whoa!
Oh,
Wow, that was like Tenet.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I'm on a Doctor Who episode. Anyway, and he was good enough to do it, set it up, and cheers to him for that, right? I mean,
So all we need, if we want to get more hands-on three-wheel cars, is for Russell to talk shit about them, and then we get a chance to get our hands on them.
Yeah,
I'm
I
all
think so.
about.
I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I really kind of. I'm not.
This is the second time it's happened.
I like two-wheelers better than three-wheelers, but that's just a personal proclivity.
Honestly,
Nothing.
oh wait, I have a better shot. One sec.
Nothing there.
All right.
Well, so let's move on to something more interesting than me mumbling about what's going on. Let's go to Georgia McKenzie, who has, in fact, news involving batteries. And why do we care about batteries? Georgia's. Oh, look at that.
That's a
There's a
beautiful
very
I
sexy
understand
That is a
shot.
beautiful shot.
I understand the
I
delivery
like it.
model, and
No.
okay,
It's
So
like, wait,
California-
I want to drive the cool looking
yeah, California edition makes sense to me too, because
Archimedes.
you know, if the weather's nice. It's not
Yeah,
hot
I
and
heard
rainy.
Mark Frohnmeyer on a podcast. Someone asked him about the doors, and he said if you talk to car engineers, a car is basically a door with a lot of other stuff around it. The engineering of a door is so complicated.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was a pretty funny
Well,
explanation.
It is, yeah. True enough. So let's go back. Georgia, you have the floor.
All right, so I have been. It is now. I forgot whose rant it was. It was not Russell, for once, by the way. That we need to stop calling it gigafactories because that is an Elon Musky Tesla thing, and it's bullshit. It's just damn fact.
Nah, Elon stole it, just like
I
other
don't.
stuff.
I don't care. I seriously do not give a flying fuck about who came up with it. So let's just move on. Gigafactories. Europe is now doing their own battery factories because we got battery factories being built in the US, we got battery factories being built in Asia. And I think now this is, to my mind, once you combine the cost of shipping, getting materials out, getting it onto the market, there's a whole lot of factors why, but I've been predicting for a long time that we kind of have to bring stuff back and build locally just because. So Europe is deciding, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to build our batteries locally so we're not dependent on batteries coming from China or batteries from the US. So, and my apologies to Sweden, I am going to mess this up. They have built a factory, Northvolt has built a factory in Skellefteå, Sweden, which is 125 miles south of the Arctic Circle. So since it's 100 degrees here, I think I kind of would prefer to be there at least for a little bit. And what it is, it's founded by two former Tesla executives, but it's hoping to provide up to a quarter of Europe's electric batteries. And the hope is that by 2030, that's the target, 40% of all new cars sold will be electric. And we're going to hope to get fully to 100% of the new car market being electric by 2040. So this is in hopes that they're going to be able to take care of that. So they've already received a $14 billion order from Volkswagen to produce the batteries for the next decade. And there's a lot of plans, including one for a long-term partnership with the Swedish truck and bus maker Scania. It's raised another $2.75 billion for funding for an expansion. And basically, the hope is that if anything else happens in other areas of the world, you know, it's not going to affect the car market in Europe. And I think that's actually smart planning. I believe that's something that we need to make sure we adopt here, but who knows what we're going to do? We're America. We just kind of wing it until we don't wing it, and then we worry about it later. So I don't know. What do you guys say?
Well, I think that gigascale factories are a cool concept. They go hand in hand with the micro factories for right sizing.
Well, it's a good economic issue because when you're talking about creating 10,000 new jobs in the region, which someplace cold up north in Sweden. Probably not a whole lot of tech jobs or factory jobs up there, but that's pretty good. And then the city is already taking that influx of money and tax base and putting that into green development, electric buses, winter friendly bicycle lanes, which I know people in New York would love to have, and an electric plane project to try to create the perfect green and livable city for around surrounding this factory. Now, my one concern, and I say this as something of a socialist, I don't like a factory, I don't like a company town. And we kind of have to make sure that we don't develop for the company as opposed for the people. I believe in supporting projects like this, but people come first. So we'll see how that gets balanced out. But I kind of thought this was a pretty cool project with a great plan for the future, and want to see more of that happening here in America. More production right here.
But I think any battery factories outside of Asia is a good thing, because you don't want China owning the market and
Yeah,
controlling
that's not
supply.
a problem.
And as our friend Musk was saying, we're going to need hundreds of these gigafactories to supply global demand for automobiles, electronics, appliances,
And I also,
homes.
well, I have some questions though, because one of the biggest issues we have with China is actually its work in Africa, getting rare minerals and elements that we need for technology, including batteries, but also microprocessors. And China has done,
Belt and Road.
to their credit, massive infrastructure work in exchange for access to this stuff, to the detriment of African countries and sovereignty, which is going to be an issue I predict going forward in the next 10 to 15 years. And we'll see how that works out, because God, I love living during interesting geopolitical times. And as far as I'm concerned, it's as necessary now to modern life as water is to our regular life. And we're already seeing the results of water policy in the Middle East and access to water and how that's affecting countries there. So it's going to be interesting to see what mineral rights in Africa, Chinese influence in African nations is going to do to European policies and American policies, to both those areas, as well as to factories like this. So things are happening.
Yeah.
I'm
Hopefully,
such a
also
positive person.
they can work on making sure that all of the minerals are ethically sourced.
Mhm.
As we've seen with them taking advantage of Africa with the Belt and Road, we've seen some folks in some of the up and coming African countries under dictatorships that they have a propensity towards child labor and unsafe practices. So hopefully that they can continue the example set by Apple, Tesla, and others that use cobalt and other conflict minerals, that they make sure they know where it's coming from and that they enforce ethics on people.
Yeah, if we want to move to a world that's electrically powered and not fossil fuel powered, we have to have batteries to do that too. And having right now, we're already seeing electric vehicles, depending on what area you're looking at, are less than 4% of the market, and yet we're in battery constrained. And yeah, let's. Every continent needs a few battery factories.
Big ones, lots of little
Yes.
ones, but big ones seem more efficient.
Either way, I'll take either.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to stock those factories, or to stock those factories, either with raw materials or to take the finished goods out, Casey Green has a story about one way we might be doing that.
Sure will. And it also happens to work with cold areas. So I've got a video I'm going to share while I talk. Let me fire that up. Here. Just have this thing. We don't need audio. Go. All right.
Uh-oh.
So there is an electric container ship that is being operated in, I forget which Nordic country it is. And so what this ship is it's did it stop? It stopped. Don't stop. Oh no, it's just a really long.
It's currently in the Norwegian port of Horten.
Yeah.
Did you say Horkin?
Yes, you
It's
did.
not bad. There's no pork in here. These cats are brushed every day. Yes, they are.
So weird. It's not loading the video. So anyway, it was a really nice demo of what they were up to with this. But we're looking at a ship that has a battery capacity of about 70 Model X P100Ds, and it's a decent little size. I wonder if I can share this tab. One more try. In bed here.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good play.
So this is a container ship, not the normal vehicle you see is battery powered.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so this container ship is autonomous and battery powered, and it doesn't have a ballast. It uses the weight of 7 megawatt hours of batteries to ballast itself. And with it being autonomous, it's able to obviously communicate with its suite of communications gear. It's able to autonomously moor and undock, and it even is equipped with. Has anybody got a picture since my screen share is acting up? And it's got the ability for the containers to be loaded and unloaded from the ship with an autonomous electric crane and what do they call the wheeled thing? The gantry that takes them to the base of the crane. The container shuttle. I'm at a loss for the word for the thing. And I thought it was really cool because this is really the right way to do things as far as
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The largest
okay.
portion of
Yeah.
our pollution right now is coming from ships, and so this is not like an ocean going ship as far as like it's not going transcontinental, but it will work around its home country. And the idea is to increase the safety by removing the trucks from the road, decrease the pollution by not having a polluting ship on the seas, and it can hold about 120 20-foot equivalent.
In or near population centers,
Yes,
you want to have something that's zero emission.
exactly. Especially with we're seeing all these asthma outbreaks. We're seeing all the other just deaths from poor air quality, and this is a good solution. And then the fact that it's autonomous means that you can then use those people to do other stuff. Like it's got a radar, lidar, AIS, IR cameras, regular cameras, and then it's got 3 sensors on land that actually will look out for this thing in various modes: emergency, regular operation, and a backup sort of situation. And so if it finds itself on a course with another ship, it'll autonomously reroute itself around back to its original course, or the humans can tell it, hey, this is your new route. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot less traffic out there in the waterways, so that makes a lot of sense. And especially if the ports can take over control and just remote pilot it in or tell it what path to take, so that way they can coordinate everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we've had enough human-piloted accidents in shipping to go, okay, the relatively low risk because of the low density for autopiloted ships is probably a little better than maybe dumping a whole bunch of autopiloted cars on El Camino Real during rush hour. Excuse me for that personal angle there.
I wonder how the dock workers union will take it, because it's loading and unloading its own stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're trying to go for both the electric and the autonomous at once.
Well, thank you, Patrick, because I was just like, isn't it enough that it's zero emissions?
Yeah.
We could put a pilot at the helm. That's not a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're not a drunk and,
Right. So we were talking about this on Sunday, and I brought up the question of what about piracy? If this thing, obviously, this one is operating in one country's waterways, so it's probably got a nice Coast Guard or Navy to protect it. But and our friend
Yeah,
Omar, he brought up
the
the point.
Russian hackers will take over the autonomous.
There's also that. So our friend Omar brought up the
Well,
point
yeah,
that you
it's
can,
an
if
option.
you have reduced need for staffing, then you can, you can still have people on board and they can protect the cargo. There's no captain to compromise, except for, as Paul mentioned, if you do a really good job of hacking it.
I always find it
or
curious that people want
ransomware.
to get rid of staff so fast. I mean,
Yeah.
you do need somebody because machines do fail.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that executives believe that they can run a company with just themselves and a few bots.
Just me and my bots,
Because most
baby.
of them are not they're not smarter than the bots, honestly.
Some of them aren't even smarter than the regular workers.
Oh, some of them aren't smarter than the. Well, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Never mind. But
Well,
but it's an odd and stupid trend to believe that you can build a company around autonomous vehicles and these kinds of things because stuff happens.
it depends on the type of transportation we're talking about. Sometimes that human operator is a significant cost. Sometimes that human operator is just the easiest cost to get rid of, even if you're going to spend billions developing autonomy. Wait a second, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would people do that?
But I
Oh,
mean, are the people even your biggest expense?
well, I mean, that's what you hear.
Well, they what they do, and I can speak to this because I have been hit with layoffs based on calculated costs. All I cost, including health benefits at one job, was under $30,000 a year. Now, what they did is they calculated out if I worked for them for the full amount of my retirement, which would have been 30 years, and then collected entire retirement benefits, a pension benefit, and healthcare costs, and then they proposed replacing me with a volunteer group that would just get a subsidy, and wrap that up as a yearly savings and present. Now, just 30,000 a year was presented as a savings. And I looked at them and I did a cost benefit analysis for them. And I said, one, you're getting something like, I think I worked out that it was over 300 hours of programming that I was responsible for, in addition to being on call as a FEMA certified communications person for a part-time job where literally I was on call 24/7 in case of a disaster. And I was responsible for access to a government site. So I was bonded, fingerprinted, and everything else. And you want to turn over the responsibility and the keys to your entire office system, including your financial office and your business office, with taxpayer information, to the local community channel with volunteers who will then have the keys to the entire civic office complex and all your equipment. That would be stupid. And I will point out to you that they went for it anyway. And the civic center, the volunteer group said, oh, so you want to turn our grant money, which we don't have to do anything for, and we get as part of the basic tax base that we are owed according to the law, into a in-kind grant where we have to work for you, have to take on the legal responsibilities, including having a volunteer that would have to be there from 5 o'clock at night until whenever you guys shut up. And I have been running a camera from 5 o'clock at night until 1 o'clock in the morning. And that is not the end of my day, because then I have to go through, wrap up the studio, make sure nobody's in any of the complexes, lock up, and I'm responsible for the security before I go. So I'm leaving at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, that is dumb, but it did work to get me out of my position. And it was a presumption of savings, and it made sense in the budget, even though it did not make sense in the actual applied budget. And in the end, they took that savings to hire somebody to do something completely different, reorganized it, and completely lost the program in itself, except for having my boss go back to night, where he has been stuck ever since.
But going back to the point of staffing, I mean,
Yeah.
shipping is really efficient from a manpower. I mean, the average container ship has like 2,000 containers and a crew of maybe 20 running the ship, where 2,000 containers on the highway need 2,000 truck drivers to move those containers.
Yeah.
Plus all the other people on the road around each
Yeah,
of those trucks.
Yeah. So I mean,
But
I
I
agree with Russell. They should have just focused on zero emission first,
Yep.
and then maybe worry about job elimination, because it's not going to make a huge
They
difference.
always go straight to cutting that human cost. I hate to say it, but I think that honestly, it would be great if they understood that. Be a good capitalist. A good capitalist has to understand that there's socialism involved in this. Because if you try to make it completely green and excise all the paying jobs on top of it, you're going to destabilize the things that allow you to be a rich capitalist. And we're bad capitalists.
Flufferbot.
Well, and I don't necessarily think it's just that we're that bad. It's that we are focused on this quarter-to-quarter BS rather than looking at the long term. Like Georgia said, I was at a place where they flipped me from a full-time employee to a subcontractor to save a buck. And each time we see, some company X lays off 250,000 people and all of a sudden the stock goes up, it's like, what if they laid them off because they're bleeding out? They're doing poorly. No, it's a great deal.
Yeah, and then you look at your CEO perks, benefits, loans that they've gotten, and then are forgiven, because they always get these, you get like $1 million loan and then it's forgiven the next quarter, which a lot of people are like, oh no, but it was just a loan, they have to pay it back. And it's like, no, you got to look at the balance sheets at the next year, the next quarter, and it's a performance boost and blah, blah, blah. And then you get the golden parachute when they tank the company because they can't produce the same amount of stuff because they cut too much and they're trying too much to do things like, on-time scheduling demand, like, so you have split shifts where I'm only going to call you in if I need you, then I'm going to send you home. Oh wait, can you come back? Suddenly we have an influx and we need you back. It goes back to the 80s where we had Michael Douglas, I think it was, with the greed is good.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of these HR practices and these mindsets come out of that.
I was watching a documentary on why Toyota was less affected by the COVID shortage than other automakers, and it was because of people kind of did a really bad copy paste job of both Kaizen and just-in-time just-in-time ordering and construction, and they found themselves without chips, without other items that were longer delays, and then Toyota's actually sitting on a surplus of chips because they realized that it takes 18 months to get a chip line set up and running.
There you go. Well, thank you, Casey and Georgia, for that. Let's go to our next feature. Everyone's favorite, including mine. This Week in Tesla with Mark Coughlin.
Yes, indeed. Last week was Plaid Week in Tesla World. It was all about the Model S Plaid event, which happened last Thursday, where the Model S was revealed and given to just over 20 customers, the first 20. And we're just going to touch on a few things that were shown at that particular event. One being, of course, the Yolk steering wheel, which not too many production cars that is given out to people has a Yolk type steering wheel. But this
as an egg yolk.
Yolk style.
This is a Yolk. This is no joke.
This is
No Yolk.
dude.
And
It's so bad.
the steering wheel is like the top is basically cut off. It's kind of a rectangle, and that of course gives you a better view to the outside and the binnacle display in front of you, so you're not trying to look through the space between the top of the wheel and the middle of the wheel, whereas you can just see it clearly. So it's going to be an adjustment for people. We'll have to see if people like it. But from polls that we've done on the Tesla Life and other places, we found that many people, the overwhelming majority, are willing to give it a shot, try it out. So we'll have to see if it becomes popular. Another interesting little bit of technology is the auto shift. No longer do you have to select the gear in the vehicle. it is going to, based on your situation, shift the gear for you, whether you're going reverse or forward. And how's it going to do that? It's going to look for obstacles. So if your car's pulled up into the front of your house and the garage is now in the way, when you get into the vehicle, it's going to assume you want to go in reverse. And it will also have the ability to learn. So the occupant can make a change to the gear that was selected, and then the car will geocode where that happened and put that into its memory. So the next time you get in at that same position, it's going to do what you had asked it to do with the change. So that's another little piece of interesting software that now is in the Model S. The computer in the car, the infotainment system, is equivalent to a PS5. So that's a lot of computer power for the car's computer system. And it has the ability to run these full PS5 type games. They've shown The Witcher, they've shown Cyberpunk as two examples of what the car can run. This kind of leads me to the fact that, there's going to be some sort of in the future, maybe some sort of an app store or something where a person can load one of these, very powerful games. I don't know how many will be able to be kept in the car. I don't know how much memory is going to be there, but certainly it shows that Tesla is moving towards more infotainment within their vehicles. And of course, that goes with their plan for autonomy. If the car is completely controlled by the computer, the occupants can turn their attention to applications or games or productive business tools if they wish. So that seems to be where the company's going.
Or if you're waiting on a charge or waiting on a human.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, let's hope they don't release Death Race 2000 as one of the games.
You can already get that on Netflix, Paul. Next is the car has finally moved from the old 12-volt battery, which all cars have, but Tesla has now moved to a 12-volt lithium-ion battery in this car, which is much smaller and much less weight for the vehicle. So since, of course...
And much more expensive to replace.
I'm sure it will
it's
be.
Supposed to be a lifetime part.
They say it's going to last the length of what the main battery pack will last. So, that could
10
be
years.
over 10 years.
And 10, 12.
So it'll be interesting to see if this is going to start rolling into the other vehicles. Obviously, the Model X will most likely get this out of the gate, but it'll be interesting to see if they start rolling this into the other cars, the 3 and the Y, the Cybertruck, if those will also get the benefit of this as well.
I'm also curious if Model X gets the same part or a bigger part, because it has a lot more power demands.
Right. And then another piece of new technology is that the car now can reach a grand total of about 200 miles per hour. That, of course, puts new demands on the electric motor. It now has to spin at 20,000 plus RPM to reach those type of speeds. And that presented a new problem for Tesla, is that their rotor in the electric motor was spinning so fast, it had the tendency to loosen the copper wire that was on the rotor. So what they came up with was the ability to carbon wrap the rotor with a new tightly wound copper rotor, so that it would keep everything in place even at those high RPMs. So that's a new invention that Tesla has done. They had to actually create a machine to do this, to get that carbon wrap to be perfect, and of course get the tightly wrapped copper underneath it. So some new invention, but that allows Tesla to continue to have a single speed transmission. So unlike Porsche that needs a second 2 gears, this car can keep its 1 gear and of course lose the weight of that additional gear shifting requirement that others need in order to reach those higher RPMs.
So 20,000 RPMs is insane. That's 333 RP second.
Wow.
I mean,
wow. And that
every
part
second, 333 revolutions. That's fast.
Yeah, the part that installs that sleeve was invented in basically Tesla Germany. It used to be called Groman Automotive, now it's called Tesla Automation. Yep, 333 a second. Wow.
And then finally, just a small thing, Tesla has unveiled at the show a new badge for the car. So in the past, Tesla has had badges that, of course, have said the name of the car or the type. So you've had things like dual motor, or you've had an underline or a P for performance. Well, the Plaid has introduced something new, and it's basically a graphic. And I've got a photo here I believe I can share with the group. Let me share that.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll get faster at this. We need practice.
And it's slow.
Okay.
It's slow. Here it is. You can see
There
it
it
over there.
is.
So you've got the symbol of going through a box, which of course is what they've done with the Plaid Light Show T-shirts that they have sold, even a new jacket that Elon was wearing for the presentation. So this graphic is now taken the place of the lettering that you would normally see. Now, we don't know if this is going to be in all versions of the car, or if this was just for the first handouts of the vehicle. But I'm sure if Tesla doesn't go with this as their standard Plaid badge, that some third-party manufacturer will make them as well, because it was such a hit at the show. So,
And pretty soon, every Tesla aftermarket parts place will be selling one of those for about $25.
probably. Exactly. So that was it was an interesting event Thursday. It certainly, some of the things were missing that we had thought might be coming or might not be coming, but it looks like Tesla is moving forward with the ramp out of these new vehicles, and they expect to be up to about 100 a week in this month, and then after that pushing to 1,000 a week, and then up to their ramp speed. So demand is certainly there to sell the cars. It just becomes now a point of, this new vehicle, the new parts that are going into it is getting them up to speed and producing them regularly as they had previously done with the S and the X.
Especially after 6 months of no production, there's a little bit of demand there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a line waiting for these cars. And with that, if you'd like to follow what's going on throughout the week, please follow the Tesla Life on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. We're easy to find.
Look for the shiny red logo and do follow Mark and his travails and reporting on Tesla.
Travails. That's interesting.
Travails. Well, yeah. I mean, you don't think covering Tesla is? And look at Fred Lambert face planted today, didn't he? I
What do you do
mean,
now?
Well, yeah, what happened?
oh, what did he do? Oh, he did something this morning. It wasn't the picture of the Model Y chassis in the what looked like the gutted factory in Austin. That was his calling Toyota delusional for believing in their business model, which is funny when you're pretty much nothing more than a Tesla cheerleader. I personally don't even disagree with him that Toyota may be wrong, but delusional? I don't know.
He's fighting words.
They are.
I'm sorry. And the line that was delusional was somebody at Toyota said that hybrids and gas cars will be around for another 30 years. And Fred said that's delusional.
I think Fred's right.
Yeah.
This is another one of those long bets that never gets paid off on. But I think I certainly don't hope that gas cars are still a major player in 30 years. Do I think that globally they will be? Yeah, I do, definitely.
Well, they won't all be
That makes
gone. I hope that they're not any significant part of the new production.
Right.
Right.
Once we hit a
We
tipping
all
point,
hope
things
that.
are going to change pretty quickly.
Yeah, we all hope that, definitely. But I don't have anything but an opinion, so I'm just going to shut up now. Let's go to Paul, who has something that may solve the gas problem completely and just make us ignore it.
So
It's Paul's favorite topic: a new battery.
new battery company. Actually, it's a battery company we spoke about a while ago, just down the road from Boulder. A company called Solid Power that got a bunch of investment a few months ago from Ford and BMW. And guess what? All of a sudden, they're announced an IPO through one of these SPAC deals, which gets them to market quick while the EV and battery space is hot. So all the Wall Street boys could get big fat bonus checks, and Ford and BMW can get a nice return on their investment. So Wall Street shenanigans aside, it is cool that people are taking this stuff seriously. And let's hope that they can actually develop a product in the next couple of years that can help electrify all the vehicles. So, they're looks like their valuation out of the gate will be 1.2 billion, and they haven't shipped anything yet. So,
Or sold anything.
right, or sold.
Or even invented anything.
Well, they say they have some prototypes, but
Do they? Paul, we are in the wrong business, my friend.
Yeah.
Can you boot up some prototypes so that we can do a SPAC and just stop this stupid working thing?
So
Yeah.
they're a solid state battery company, and that is a tough nut to crack. So if they really do have something there, it will be a game changer. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and I hope they're not just all hype, all sizzle, and no results.
yeah, hopefully it's not another Lordstown, as we heard
Yeah,
this
hopefully
week.
not. Yeah.
Oh,
If they're legit, then Toyota probably wants to be at the front of the line. But if they are legit, then they can write blank checks left and right because everybody wants them.
Right.
And solid state batteries is what Toyota has been waiting for before they jump in on the electric bandwagon.
allegedly.
Well, Toyota says
say
they have their
they
own
want
stuff.
that. And they say that too, yeah.
So,
If somebody else beats them
who
to it.
knows who owns the IP on this stuff? Who's got the patents? Will the patent lawyers have a field day fighting each other? It's kind of the Wild West in that space right now.
JT said Nicola and Lordstown are interested. Yes.
But yeah, so watch your, don't take stock advice from us, but call your broker if you want to get in on this deal. It's late in the year. So.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, thank you for that. And we'll see. I mean, we've certainly been both supportive and skeptical of the battery innovation. How many years ago was it carbon nanotubes or everything was going to solve, or graphene was going to solve everything?
Both of those.
Well, I think like 6 years ago, we were talking about solid state batteries coming next year. So
Yeah.
And then
And-
for the last 60 years, hydrogen.
Ugh. Stop with that, right? Okay. Speaking of, well, let's go to Patrick for our next and final story. Speaking of the most common element in the universe. Almost.
That's right. It is the most common element in the universe, but it's also very sticky. It likes to attach to other things besides itself. So we are talking about fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. And I'd like to say that Honda has finally had some clarity. And they have just this week announced they're going to discontinue the Honda Clarity, citing weak demand. And there's a few facts in this article.
How many did they sell worldwide?
Yes, Honda has sold 1,900 units worldwide.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and if you look at their Wikipedia page, they've been doing this since 2008 in various forms. So
that counts all of them?
That's
Wow.
what this. Yeah,
This is
Wow.
just the fuel cell vehicle, though. We're
Right,
Yes.
talking,
but all
we're
the
not
fuel cell
talking about the
vehicles-
hybrid or the electric
Yeah.
version.
correct.
Right, but
Okay.
all of the fuel cell years from 2008, they sold 1,000.
That's my understanding from this Nikkei Asia article.
Yeah.
Yep, and
And that's like the F-150 production before lunchtime, right?
Right.
yeah, exactly, right.
On a Monday morning before they get all the meetings out of the way.
And it probably doesn't help them that it's been lease only. It has a sticker price of $71,000. And
And
where
there's
are you going
12 fueling stations in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, in the entire planet, there's about a dozen places to fill it up, and half of those are in California, and some of those recently broke, leaving drivers stuck because
One
there's not
exploded.
an alternative. I don't think anything exploded.
But yeah, one of the stations exploded.
Oh, did it really? Oh
Mhm.
man! Wow. Yeah. So we've talked about hydrogen fuel cells on the show several times. If you have a very specific fixed point use, like we maybe a heavy train or a ferry, and maybe
Airport shuttle.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are things where you know where you're going to drive, you know where you need the fueling station, but to come out and do it with passenger cars first is just stupid. Passenger cars need to be able to drive any and everywhere, and that means you need a vast charging infrastructure, which hydrogen fuel cells do not have. So to start with a passenger car was just dumb from the beginning, and yet they've put all this development and time and effort and research and money, and so you get stuck on this sunk cost fallacy where, well, we've already invested so many millions, we can't stop now. And finally something smacked them upside the head to say, let's reevaluate this, and it's not working out, and it's time to stop. And they have, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, at least they've gone this far, yes, and they've wasted that much money, yes, but at least they've had the common sense to stop at some point. Hopefully,
That is true.
allegedly.
They didn't double down.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm sure they did some doubling it down along the way, but it's time to say that this thing's a dog, and it's time to give up on it.
Right. Keep throwing good money after bad, and you're soon broke.
Mhm.
It's amazing how much companies can waste
Yes.
Hmm.
on all kinds of boondoggles. But yeah, arguably.
But I had the
I kind
opportunity.
of like the clarity.
Yeah. I had the
Platform.
opportunity. Yeah. I had the
All
opportunity to drive
needed
the
was
FCX
like
Clarity.
a few more thousand of you buying the damn car, and it would have been.
No, I didn't buy this car. So I drove the 2008 FCX Clarity, the burgundy one that only came in one color, one trim, and it was nice. It was smooth. It felt refined. And this was back when South Carolina had one of the few East Coast stations in Columbia, and the one in DC still existed. Those are nowhere to be found now. So it was quick too. It just did, the fuel was a problem. I mean, it's not like you can go to your house and just plug it in. And at the time, the Honda Phil still existed, where you could compress your own natural gas, but you couldn't do that with hydrogen, which was.
I feel like this violated the basic principle of even-numbered truck movies don't suck. You let somebody else go on ahead and deal with that beta and 1.0. You
Yeah.
come up with the 2.0 once it's stabilized. And it's like, now granted, that's one of the drawbacks of innovation. You're going to spend a lot of money, and sometimes you're going to blow a lot of money. But yeah, that I felt without the infrastructure for the hydrogen fueling stations, you were taking a massive risk in developing a product line that would depend on that, because that fuel capacity part is the one that was missing in this equation.
Yep, definitely.
There you go. And with that note, we say goodbye. Oh, what's this?
a really old video of me driving the FCX Clarity.
Oh, okay. I was
Apparently,
like,
it's on like Google's version of Amazon Glacier. Like nobody's loaded this video.
I was just gonna say, loading,
I was like,
loading.
Cold storage.
Who's
They
suing
found
us
the
for
hard drive.
playing their video? That's all.
It's like
Oh, it's my video.
They're pulling it
Oh,
off the
okay.
Commodore 64 hard drive.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
I dare not even shuffle around at this point.
Wow.
Well, it's unlisted. No
Actually,
wonder
wasn't the
somebody
Commodore
plays it.
64 had like the audio cassette for data storage?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
it did.
yeah. I think that was like if you were really well off, you had an actual tape.
Mhm.
Well, cold storage is a real thing, so
Mhm.
we tried.
Yeah, I had a game called Pegasus on cassette for my Commodore.
Right.
It was
There you
a rip-off of Joust.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, thank you for that, Patrick. Sad to see a car go, but yeah, as we've all said so many times, a hydrogen-powered consumer passenger car.
Ain't there yet.
Yeah, It's just not a great idea. Oopsie. Hey, we tried it. It didn't work. Now let go. Let go. Say goodbye. Do something else. Let's do some shout outs and go home. I'm going to start with Paul Guzik.
Hey, if you're in Colorado and have a hybrid or EV, need service, repairs, check us out, boulderhc.com. If you're looking to buy a used hybrid car, check us out at boulderh.com. Or EV. Don't have many EVs right now for sale.
A 5K hard drive. Oh, God. Derek in our chat room is talking about his time at Commodore. Sorry, I got totally. That was beautiful. Thank you, Derek. That was wonderful. Mr. Connor, what's going on at carswithcords.net?
That's right. That is my blog, carswithcords.net. And let's go see what I've got lately. So I have joined Portland General Electric has a virtual power plant. And so I have offered up my Tesla batteries and put them in that program. And the utility's paying me $20 a month, whether they use them or not, which is awesome. And this time of year, there's lots of solar, so my electricity bill is pretty cheap. The last one I got was negative 15 cents. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Profits.
And I'm also with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Do look up Patrick, even if he's wrong much of the time. He's still a great writer. And if you take my word for it, you're probably taking the short end of the bet. Let me just give you a warning.
And I want to say thanks again to Harper. If you're still out
And
there
Harper. Absolutely. Cheers, Harper. Mr. Coughlin.
I would like to say, if you're still watching this at this point in the show, no, Russell, not why. Of course they're watching. It's your show, remember?
Oh, it's our show.
Give
We're all sharing the blame, okay?
Give us a thumbs up at this point.
Oh, don't look at me.
Press the subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps us out. It helps push the show forward, and we appreciate your help. Thank you very much. You can also follow us on all the social media. Just look up What Drives Us. It's there. Select it and follow. We would appreciate that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Coughlin. Casey Green, what's new and exciting on your YouTube channel?
I've got a couple of short videos, and they're kind of fun. One is a case of Convenient Cop, and another is the wackiest version of a Carolina squat truck that I've ever seen. And and then I've been working on the software updates, as well as I received a box for a review of a level 1 charging solution, as well as a couple of other products I took a look at. So keep an eye at Casey Green, youtube.com/Casey Green, and you can see them there.
There you go. Do visit Casey channel, like and subscribe. Last and not least, I said that about 8 times today, which probably means I should have said it 7 times less. George McKenzie.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to our audience. Thank you for being here because without you, granted, we sort of like talking to each other, but we like talking and having you guys chat with us back in the stream. But thank you for being here. Thank you for donations that helped Russell get that new Mac Mini, that new shiny boy. So happy for you, Russell. And once again, hit like and subscribe. You've been here long enough. You might as well just put a ring on it. You like us. Hit like and subscribe for that. Head on over to Casey's channel because I know I'm going over there to find out what the heck with the Yolk steering wheel thing. And hit like and subscribe there. Head over to Tesla Life. Mark's got all the news, all the things. Because I'm still confused by the Yolk steering wheel. I'm gonna have to check that one out over on Tesla Life too. We got all the news. Don't forget to come back next week because we're gonna have something. You know we're gonna have something. Even if it's just you sitting there going, what the hell is gonna break during the stream?
Something.
Something is gonna happen.
Something
but you know
will.
what? We keep it exciting for you.
We sacrifice our dignity for your entertainment.
Who had dignity to begin with? Come on.
Yeah,
you
fair
can't
enough.
admit
Touche.
you're in that live stream. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody who has made this show so good. Casey, Georgia, Mark, Patrick, and that Paul guy. It's not dark yet, Paul.
Yeah, it's almost still light.
It's getting to be summer. All of our windows aren't dark by the time the show's over.
But like next week, it'll be the shortest day of the year.
Longest.
We'll be over the hump.
The longest day of the
Yeah,
year.
I mean, but it'll be
Oh,
on the other
heading
side.
solstice.
The other side.
I was an art major.
Let's let
Okay.
Paul go.
I can't yeah. Once again, thanks to all the people who participated in the What Drives Us GoFundMe computer raising thing. The computer's here. We're just getting it set up. It's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Please do like and subscribe on the YouTube page. And as Mark said, we're at What Drives Us all over social media. Follow us there. Suggest us to your friends. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Thanks very much, Michael. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank Casey Green for his live stream engineering. And all of you, you're the reason we do this show. Believe it or not, we don't suffer these travails. There you go, Mark. For nothing, we do it for you. It doesn't really sound very self-sacrificial. So all I'm going to say then is tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Stay positive.
See?
Cue
Test
the
negative.
music.
Excitement.
See you later.